If you're someone who's very skinny arms, maybe you're a guy, but you have a big beer belly and you've had that for a while, there's a great chance you are going to have to start by taking off some of that weight because, especially visceral fat, you're going to want to attack that to get rid of it. And it can be really hard to know what to do because if you just lose weight, you're just going to end up more skinny and that's going to cause more issues. But if you go the opposite route and you try to gain weight, you're just going to end up with more fat. So it puts you in this tough predicament of a situation.
You're always one decision away from a completely different life. I just keep thinking about how many decisions we have. Like within a day, we probably make hundreds. And the more that we can try our absolute best, and we'll never be perfect, but try our best to just step out of our comfort zone, to try new things, to, just make that right decision. Like it can completely change the trajectory of our lives.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
your co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
And this is Motivation Monday. We're here to get you fired up, educated, and inspired for an incredible week. Let's go ahead and jump into our primary question of the episode. And the first question is, can you fix skinny fat without weight loss, or is fat loss always required for this process? So this is an amazing question. We've spoken about skinny fat before. We'll definitely speak about it again because this is a common problem. This is where you're not someone who's noticeably overweight. Maybe in clothes you pass. If you have baggy clothes, no one would know. But when you take your shirt off or you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're someone who's slimmer but also holds some fat, most often, especially in your stomach area. This is the main cause of being skinny fat. You're in this weird in between, and it can be really hard to know what to do because if you just lose weight, you're just going to end up more skinny, and that's going to cause more issues. But if you go the opposite route and you try to gain weight, you're just going to end up with more fat. So it puts you in this tough predicament of a situation. And I'm sure for some people it's stressful because you'd say, okay, if I was just skinny, I know I just need to gain weight. If I was just overweight, I would know I need to just take that weight off. So to this question, the question is like, can you fix it without losing weight, or do you need to start with that fat loss process? So that is an excellent question. And just know from my little spiel at the start there, it truly does depend where you are. And everyone is so different because there isn't necessarily one right answer, but there is a right answer for you. And it depends how you look. If you're someone who's very skinny arms, maybe you're a guy, but you have a big beer belly and you've had that for a while, there's a great chance you are going to have to start by taking off some of that weight because, especially visceral fat, you're going to want to attack that to get rid of it. If you're someone who's skinny and maybe you hold most of your fat in your legs, that's something that could be changed out over time. You could be in maintenance or in a slight surplus, and you could start to combat that. But that's where everyone's different, and everyone's fat storage is going to be entirely different. Kyle stores more fat in his upper body and his stomach. I store more fat in my upper body all the time. And for Kyle, when he gets lean, you'll instantly know by his shoulders, veins will be popping. For me, I would need to be exceptionally lean for you to see my shoulders like that. That's just not a reality. That isn't something that usually happens for me. Whereas for me, I actually hold less in my stomach so I can have a higher body fat and have some passability for abs. For Kyle, he'll have to be a little bit leaner. And everyone is just entirely different. And that's where you need to start to understand where you are in your history. In terms of skinny fat, what usually happens is maybe you have decent eating habits, not the best, not the worst. On the weekend, you go out, you drink, you party a bit, you'll order in every here and there. You've been overdoing it a bit over the holidays and you don't exercise. That's like your typical build. Or you're a 9-to-5 corporate worker, you're not moving much. This is really common for skinny fat to happen. The great news is it actually isn't a big fix. Like it's not too hard to do because no matter what route you end up going to this question of like, do you need weight loss? As long as you're actively increasing your activity and you're improving your composition, which will be done by lifting weights. When you lift weights, it's going to change the shape, fullness, and strength of your muscles. And that's what's actually going to cause you to take shape. As you begin to do that, you'll start to fix the skinny fat because you're going to start to put on some muscle. And from actually lifting, having control of your calories, if you're a maintenance or a deficit, you will start to take off fat, especially in those areas you don't want it, like your stomach. And as you begin to do that, you will see a very noticeable change in your physique. If you go the opposite route and you put on some muscle and you focus on adding calories to remove the skinniness, I'd say most guys go this route. So if you're a guy and you're just like, I don't care that I have a bit of a belly, my skinny arms bug me more than anything else, Here, I would actually advise you to gain a little bit of weight, not to go into a heavy bulk, not to do anything silly, but to be in a slight surplus because, yes, you will put on some fat, but you're going to put on a lot of muscle and you're going to target what bugs you the most. So, if your stomach bugs you the most, you want it gone. I recommend being in a little bit of a deficit, increasing the volume and activity of your exercise, doing more steps, and approaching it that way because you will remove that fat while putting on muscle and improving your composition. So that's my long-winded answer, but I wanted to explain some of the context behind how to approach this.
I'm really glad Josh started to talk about like what actually bothers you, because usually one of my first questions when I'm trying to figure out what someone actually wants, if someone has to do a body recomposition and they're debating whether they want to essentially mainly focus on gaining muscle or losing fat, or if someone is in front of me that's skinny fat and they send me an application and they're trying to figure out what the first step is, when I ask them what bothers you the most, I can tell like really from the bottom of their heart like what actually is bothering them. Like you can hear, and when someone's grabbing their stomach and they're just really focused on that, you can tell that that's going to be the thing that we're going to need to focus on first and foremost to make them the happiest, right? Whereas if there's a dude, as Josh was mentioning, in front of you and you can kind of tell they're a little bit insecure about their arms and they're not as muscular and they're a little bit younger, and like, you know, they've got a bunch of guys that are like, you know, getting all jacked and stuff, and they're on a football team and they just want to get more jacked, like they're going to want to focus more on muscle. And when you ask yourself like what really genuinely bothers me, it will usually be a lot easier to figure out the approach to take first. But skinny fat is a very tough one, because using a guy as an example, it's hard because if you're in a t-shirt, you may just feel very insecure because you have smaller arms, you're not exactly happy with it. And then you go on a vacation and you're at a cottage and you're shirtless, then you may feel like you have what guys would say a barrel. So that's where it's such an important thing to take the process and take it step by step and actually do it accordingly. Josh and myself have actually helped, honestly, probably I'd say 1,000 people at this point who are looking to fix their skinny fat physique. And what I will say about something like this and body recomposition is it's very hard to do. And the main reason is because you really get inside your head when it comes to making the right decisions, because one day you may feel a little bit fluffy, you may feel a little bit bloated, and then you'll say, you know what? I'm going to cut my calories back. You know, this is just what I need to do. And then another day you may be feeling a bit skinnier, depending on the situation, what you're wearing, where you've gone, or what someone even says about you. Like these things all do play a factor, especially if you're feeling a little bit insecure and not exactly happy with your physique. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to bulk up and I'm going to increase my calories. So I will say having an outside perspective really does make such a big difference. And what Josh and myself wanted to do for this specific question is anyone who feels like they are in a skinny fat position where their belly's a little bit bigger and they have a little bit less muscle, we want to help you out. We want to get you some incredible results, and we want to fix that skinny fat problem once and for all. All you have to do is message us skinny fat to Instagram at ColossusFit, COLOSSUSFIT. We'll read through your applications, make sure you're the right fit. We do guarantee results as well. And our main mission is to help every person feel confident in their own skin, feel incredible, and make the right decision. So we'd be happy to take care of you. So message us skinny fat to Instagram.
Yeah, and I'm glad Kyle mentioned the flip-floppiness because when you are in this stage, it's very hard to know what choice to make. And that's why I gave you all the available options, and your decision can change week to week. You could feel skinny and say, I don't care, I just want to get rid of my stomach. And you're like, I'm getting more skinny and panic and overeat and end up hurting the process more. But most often, if you're in this bucket, and I use the example of guys, the common archetype I'd say we get for a girl, someone who is fit and through school, played a sport, did some kind of something all through uni, gets out of that, gets in the workforce, is moving less, begins eating a little bit more and still like looks good, but they don't feel like as lean and toned as they did previously. And most often, like the common skinny fat fixes you can implement right away to see drastic change are actually lift. Like if you're not lifting, that right away is going to be your first fix. And I find bulk of these people will avoid lifting and they'll just go and do more cardio, which is just going to exemplify the problem more. So you're just going to burn more calories, eat them back, not actually do that lifting to change your composition. So it's really important you get on the gym in a good routine. And this is something we obviously specialize in. But past that, prioritizing protein. Protein is going to be your friend. You're going to really want to work to about a gram per pound of body weight. And I understand that's harder to figure out, but if you're like 50 pounds overweight, you could deduct that and aim to be at around that range of protein to start, to work up to rather. Because if you're only having like 40, 50, 60 grams of protein, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. By optimizing for protein in your diet, it's going to help you put on more muscle. It's going to help you maintain more muscle while you lose fat. It's going to help you feel more full and control your calories. And naturally correcting for this with lifting is going to solve a lot of your issues in terms of your tone and your muscularity. And that's why we have great examples like transformations on our Instagram. If you look at my client Tiffany, I wouldn't necessarily put her in the skinny fat, but you can see the difference like that was made in, I believe, like 2 months from the first shot to the second shot in the same bikini. We can actually put it on the screen here so those you on video can see. And this is an example of what just correcting these routines, optimizing your nutrition, getting in the gym can be. And I was really pumped on this transformation, the confidence she felt from it. And you can see like she's like a whole new person. It's a whole new level of confidence. And often it's just because you're putting your time and allocation in the wrong areas. And that's where as coaches, we really specialize like you for your specific situation to say, this is what you need. Stop focusing over here. And we'll just do all the hard work for you. We'll make your routine. We'll give you nutritional accountability. We're going to help you see your goals. We're going to set in phasings. We're going to help you adapt to events. If there's like, a wedding you need to go to or a special dinner, we'll be there to guide you through all that. And we'll be your biggest support mechanism. And we guarantee your results, which no one else does, but we're so confident transformations that we guarantee your results. And I just want to jump into this as well because we're at that time of the year. We're almost through January. Your New Year's resolution may fizzle out. Maybe you missed a day or a second day and you started to end that habit and you're wondering why it's not working. This was the year you were supposed to see change. So if you thought you were going to see change at the start of this year and you didn't, there's no shame in being like, I'm going to get some help. I'm going to have someone on my side to see me through this. And that's where we and Kyle want to be those people for you. So please do not hesitate to message us Skinny Fat for a special opportunity to work with me and Kyle one-on-one to get your dream body fully guaranteed. Once again, that's Skinny Fat to our Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. You can see all of our other amazing transformations there alongside a lot of other phenomenal content. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into a quote this week that has inspired us, and we're going to kick it off with Kyle's quote.
My quote for today is, the only thing standing in between who you are and who you can become is a decision. So I love this because the concept of just like one decision to me is so powerful. And one of my other favorite quotes is, you're always one decision away from a completely different life. So I just keep thinking about how many decisions we have. Like within a day, we probably make hundreds. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's definitely a lot. And the more that we can try our absolute best, and we'll never be perfect, but try our best to just step out of our comfort zone, to try new things, to, just make that right decision. Like it can completely change the trajectory of our lives. And I've shared a lot of decisions that I've made in the past that have like got me to where I'm at and like in front of you guys. And honestly, it's just so cool because I'm sure a lot of you can reflect back on, let's just say you've done some incredible things in fitness and you're really proud of yourself. That one decision for you to sign up for that gym membership has led to you being in the best shape possible, feeling absolutely incredible. And I got to commend you for that. Maybe you hired a fitness coach, maybe you're one of our amazing coaching clients. And that one day you decided to say, you know what, Coach Josh and Kyle were talking about skinny fat or body recomp or whatever it is. I sent that message and now I'm 60 pounds down and I married the person of my dreams and I have confidence to attack what I want. Like that one decision of just doing that one thing. And usually the decision that changes your life is the thing that's uncomfortable. So when you are deciding, hey, you know what, should I download this free guide from them? Should I message? Should I sign up for this gym membership? Should I message this one person or try something else? Like when it's usually uncomfortable, that's what's going to lead to the best success long-term. And I truly find that that is just 100% the case. So one decision away, just to reiterate, my quote for today is, the only thing standing in between who you are and who you can become is a decision.
Yeah, and that goes both ways. Unfortunately, if you start making bad decisions, or even I always like the example of if you pull the string, like where does it go? Like there's a funny intro of The Office where Jim does this prank with Dwight and he has a string that goes all the way up a telephone pole. It's like a crazy long chase. But sometimes for some people, they'll make a bad decision where they're going to say, I'm going to start going out with this group to do this activity. And before you know it, like months later, you're like, where did I end up? This is so opposite to what I want to do. But if you make an opposite decision, like and say, I'm going to start waking up early versus I'm going to start hitting snooze, one day you hit snooze, you get comfortable doing that. And then before you know it, you're someone who hits it 20 times a day, who sleeps till 10. So it can go both ways. So you always want to ask yourself, like, am I helping myself by making good decisions that will lead me to make more good decisions? And oftentimes you can kind of catch yourself before you go off on a bad path. So I just wanted to put that opposite view as well, because I think just the same as there's good decisions, there can be bad. And this is where like self-reflection, analysis, journaling can be immensely powerful. But now we're going to jump into my quote, and that is, most people don't lack motivation. They lack clarity and conviction. Without those, everything feels optional. And this is from Josh Wilkinson. Sounds like a really smart guy, but no, dead serious. Like, I took some time and I was just thinking about how clarity is what most people miss. And then I started piecing the quote together, because I think without clarity and conviction, your motivation, the tasks you need to do, it truly seems optimal. Like, if something's a wish, not a need, or a want, not a need, the amount of motivation you'll have to do it is entirely different. And I was just thinking about this a lot this week, because if you spend time on your thinking, and even a motivational video I was listening to, the guy had said there's 3 questions he likes to ask everyone, and you should ask yourself this, and that's, what do you want? How bad do you want it? And how much are you willing to suffer for it? And what he said is, the truth is everything actually really resolves around the first question, because if you don't have clarity what you want, you're not going to suffer, you're not going to want it bad. But when it's something like you want so clearly, you can see it, you see a path to it, you spend time reflecting on it, you're willing to go through the struggle for it, it's way more motivational. And I think that's where people fall short when they say, like, I want to lose a little bit of fat. Like, what does that mean, right? If you say, instead, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 months so I'm able to run my first 5K and be able to deadlift twice my body weight. Like, that's tangible. That's motivational. That makes me want to go out on runs. That makes me want to deadlift. That makes me want to actually make sure I'm hitting that marker of how much fat I need to lose, just over a pound a week. You can see the difference there. So as you have clarity and then you have conviction to that clarity, that's what's actually going to motivate you to see it through. And they even use examples in a separate video, a motivational video, which we always like to watch. And they were saying, like, the conviction and the motivation is so high. Like, if you put someone's family member at risk, that person's going to lock in and do anything. And that's where with our goals, if we don't see them as serious or consequential, we're not actually going to be motivated to do it. So if you haven't, it's really important you spend time reflecting and journaling. I'm always challenging my clients with this, because through reflection, you can understand, okay, this is what I actually want. Maybe I'm scared not to have it because I don't believe I was ever meant to be that person. I was chubby and everyone bullied me, and I just started to accept that's who I was. So I just don't think I can be that fit and healthy person. Like, when you can have that and you say, no, I need to move past that. I want to grow up past that and evolve and become that fit person for myself, to have that confidence and strength. That's a motivational goal. Then that's going to move the needle for you. So that's my thought as well as my quote.
It's kind of crazy because I talk to a lot of you awesome people, but I feel like oftentimes I'll ask a question such as like, hey, like, what do you want to achieve? And there'll be a response back like, oh, like, just a good question. Like, I'm not really sure yet. And it's kind of like you getting in the car and you just start driving and you're just like hoping to get somewhere. Like, by all means, you will absolutely get somewhere, but you likely won't get to that destination and where you actually want to go because you're not even sure where you want to go. So it's funny, people will like do all these things and try to create better habits and all this stuff, but then they don't actually take the time to sit down and think like, how am I, like, what do I want and how am I going to get there? And I thought that was such a powerful quote. But jumping into one thing, so I wanted to share, because the skinny fat physique, I wanted to share. Last week I talked a little bit about insecurities within fitness, and there was a time that I wasn't mentioning, but where I felt like I had a bit of a skinny fat physique. And that goes like all the way back to like early on in the fitness journey when I was drinking quite a bit more. I was going out, staying up really late. Actually, another thing was my sleep was just completely out of whack. It was just absolutely horrible. And I was doing a little bit too much running, and I didn't have a proper strength training program. And I also didn't keep track of my calories. Like, I wasn't paying attention to protein. I would have Little Caesars pizza here and there. And it was just like so bad. But the point is that a lot of people make these types of mistakes. And I like the running example as well, right? You join a run club, you're just like, hey, I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to start running more. You end up going out, having a bunch of beers afterwards. You end up, eating anything because you're running, so you can eat anything. And most runners, I'd say, although they can be okay at performance and their goal that they're striving for, they're not exactly happy with their physique, with a lack of muscle, a little bit extra fat, and that is what can cause a skinny fat physique. So these are common mistakes that I wanted to open up about that I made in my journey to get a skinny fat physique, which I wasn't proud of, and I was very happy to combat that. So I just wanted to share that today.
Yeah, and it's so easy, like I said, to fall into that category. You're someone who played sports especially, because what's awesome with sports is your clarity and conviction is to become better at that sport, right? You're just like, I want to be fit so I can perform better, so I can be more elite. And it's really easy and motivational. You have a coach telling you what to do. Start taking your diet serious, go on these extra runs. Like, it was always nice having that. And I think athletes in particular, even if you have an athletic background, when that's taken away, like, you feel lost because you're like, what's the point of this? Why am I even working out? What am I running for? Why am I eating healthy? And then that's where you'll spiral. And then you'll start to realize, like, oh, I don't feel good. Like, I'm gaining a ton of weight. My diet isn't where it used to be. I'm not that person that I was before where I felt so good. And unfortunately, nothing changes if nothing changes. You have to do something about it. You have to take that first step. So if you're someone who's skinny fat, or you want to see results you deserve, or you started the new year, like I said, where you don't want to be, at least check out our Instagram, see some of our transformations at ClossFit, COLOSSUSFIT. And if you want to give yourself the biggest edge and advantage you can this year, that's having a coach on your side. You're going to see 5 to 10 times faster results. We're going to help you with all of this. We're going to help you actually find out what your true goal is. We're going to give you an exact training routine you can follow, just like a map, an instruction book. I'm going to give you nutrition that fits for your lifestyle. Like, you cannot lose with this system. And we worked hard over the last decade really perfecting it. And we want you to benefit from it because everyone deserves to be fit, healthy, and happy. So message us Skinny Fat once again to make that happen. This is a special promo we're doing, so do not miss out. Instagram, like I said, at ClossFit. If you're not following us there, make sure you are anyhow. We'll also have a QR code on the screen here. And then my other thought is I want to give a special shout out to Samuel. He's our new video editor. We had him on a trial this last week. And if you noticed the podcast looking better, we're really excited to work with him. He's taken on this project. He's really excited, and it looks way better. We have a lot better branding behind it. There's way more actual content on the screen. You see our quotes come up nice in text. So if you're someone who likes to watch podcasts, our podcast is now infinitely better to watch. So I definitely recommend giving that a shot if that's something you like to do. If you're just an audio person too, that's also totally cool. You're not missing out there. So just wanted to make that mention. And now I actually want to shout out someone who took that jump, who's in our coaching program, who is struggling, who is now crushing it.
Yeah, and today we're going to be shouting out Spencer. So his transformation is under 12 weeks. He's someone who already had quite an amazing base already, and he just wanted to reach that next level. And what's so cool is you can tell from the photos, he absolutely lost fat and built some incredible muscle both at the same time. So while we're on this whole topic of body recompositions and skinny fat physiques and losing fat and building muscle, it's really, really cool to see. I'd say a good chunk of our transformations, maybe around 500 to 750, in that range, we've helped a lot of people go from good to great. So these are the people who haven't exactly lost 50 pounds or anything like that, which we love those transformations as well. But it's just so cool to see someone who is already training, who already had quite a bit of knowledge, just really take things to the next level. So it's honestly amazing at what you can accomplish. And I know one of our most recent questions, like our first episode of the year, was just like, hey, I already know a good bit of stuff. Like, is it worth having a coach? And the truth is, like, when you're unemotionally attached and when you have someone say exactly what to do, how to do it, and give you the exact parameters, it just makes it so much easier. And honestly, like, while I'm shouting out Spencer, as we have Samuel here and our whole 2026 ahead, one of my biggest goals is to take the guesswork out of the process of the stuff that I'm not good at, right? So we have a video editor, we've got a thumbnail guy, we've got other people helping us with other parts of the business. And I feel like so many people who kind of know stuff, they're just like, let me do it all. And then they just end up doing it poorly and just not doing it right. And this is an example of the transformation where he was doing some great stuff. And he's like, you know what? Let me just get some help. Like, I'm not an expert here. I'm not perfect. I need some extra support. So if you are someone who likes to reach the next level and you want to, which I know you absolutely do, if you're listening to this podcast, just feel free to message us. We're always here for you. But above all, I just want to give a huge shout out to Spencer for this amazing transformation.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good example. I can edit a podcast. I can do it myself and I can say I want to do it myself. But what's brutal too is sometimes when you're doing something and it's like just getting done, you're limiting your potential so much. Whereas if you have someone there who's more talented at it, who has more of an eye or an ear for it, like it's so nice working with people that are better than you at some things that you're not. And that's where like having a coach is so beneficial, right? Like if you're doing all these things, you're a busy professional, you got a family, you got a life, like it's unrealistic for you to expect to figure it out. I've used the plumbing example. I'm not figuring out how to do my plumbing. It's like the last thing I can actually focus on or need to do or fix my entire car, right? So, same with your fitness. Like when you learn how to do it too, it just makes it so much easier. It makes it way less stressful. And the last random thing I guess I'll say, one hole in our game and something we'd still like help with. If you're really good, you're like a graphic designer and you'd like a little side project, mainly just making thumbnails and making different graphics for us, that is something we would still like help with. So you can message us on Instagram if that's your skill set and that would interest you. I think that'd be pretty cool, especially if you're listening to this podcast. It's a big bonus. But now we're going to jump into our second question of the day. And that is, I know you guys have Apple Watches. I am so torn on whether to use one. I love fitness tracking, but I also find it stresses me out and causes me to consume screens more. So I'll often take it off. What are your thoughts and how do you combat this? And this is a great question. This is something I think about a lot and I have thought about a lot because right now, screens, everything in our life, it's like almost like an infestation. I think what really annoyed me the most was when I was somewhere in the States, I was pumping gas and there was ads. Like I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like I have to listen to ads while I'm paying to pump gas in my truck. Like it's kind of brutal that we're getting so assaulted with screens and just everyone's on them all the time. And obviously, having an extra computer on your wrist, a lot of people say it isn't necessarily the greatest thing because it's going to cause you to be distracted. It's going to cause you to look at it. I've actually noticed it's like a tick for me. If I'm bored, usually I'll scroll. I want to see if something's there. It's like that lottery effect of like, is there a notification? And is that a cool notification? Did I find out someone wants to pay me $10 million or something, right? You never know. And that's what can kind of get you. But at the same time, it's also a really great tool that can help you use your phone less. By having the watch, sometimes I can keep my phone away from me because I at least have some form being contacted if I need to be or something's going on or there's an emergency. It's nice to know I have it. It's really great for fitness tracking. Like for me, I really like knowing the duration and intensity of my workouts. It's not a perfect science, but it's fun for me to know how many calories I burn, where my heart rate was at. Like this is all actionable data and I can go back through the whole year and see how my workouts are, how they're stacking up. And it's been really cool seeing Apple's particular investment into health. And you're seeing other things that are available on the app. Even now lately for when I'm sick, you can learn a lot like about whether you're sick from how your heart rate's at or if you have a fever. So there's been additional tools that I've enjoyed using it for as well as steps. And I've gone all the way back from having a Fitbit and I love especially step tracking. Without it, you if you don't use one, you might be in shock at how few steps you do. So having that accountability is absolutely great. And that's where I would say it is a phenomenal tool. And unfortunately, there is a cost of looking at it more, but I think there are a lot of things you can do to minimize that and improve that. The first one, and this is a tip for everyone out there, if you're listening to this, please take me up on this. It'll make your life better. Cut down the notifications you get in a day by like 75%. You don't need to know if there's deals on DoorDash or if the retailer you use has some product you think you'd like. Like the amount of emails and notifications people just leave on is ridiculous. Like it's just assaulting how many people will do. So for me with my watch, I only get notifications from very select things. There's no noises, there's no vibration except for very select things or select people. I have it very, very filtered to just like need to know information. And I really try to keep it strict to that. Same with the new Apple ecosystem. You can do like the reduce interruptions and stuff. But if it just becomes this thing like where you're having a conversation with someone and they just start looking at their watch, it's a little insulting. People don't enjoy it. And unfortunately, it's hard because it's so there. So that's where you need to make a personal decision. I think this question is good, but I think at the same time, you could use it to say, okay, I'm going to look at my phone less. If there's an emergency, someone can contact me. I'm going to minimize all my notifications. So it really depends, I think, how you use it. To me, the benefit of the actual fitness tracking has been so amazing for me. I also like the slip and fall detection. One time I fell really bad on my motorcycle and it started to like do a 60-second counter to call like EMS to get me an ambulance. I was okay, thankfully. I sponged it pretty good, but I thought, wow, this is a really good feature because If I was by myself, I got knocked out or a car crash, like I think that functionality is nice as well. So I am a fan of an Apple Watch. I do recommend them to people. I just think in general, you should trim down the amount of notifications you can get. And notifications to your phone and notifications to your watch are separate things. And I think most people naturally don't filter their watch. And that's where they're getting so many things popping up. They're always looking down. And that's where I would work to combat that and see what's a realistic amount of usage for you in your life.
I think those points were so fantastic. Even myself, I need to get better at some of those. But like when you can look at a device and say this genuinely helps me become better, that's when you know it's great, and you can work towards becoming better with that. And what I mean by that is like the step tracker. Like the amount of times I've looked at my watch and just been like, oh, I'm at 5,500. I need to get out there. It's countless. Like to me, it's 100% worth it. Now, some people will say that your phone does that, but then you would need your phone to be on you at all times, which I would much rather my watch than to have my phone. Like I like being able to just leave that to the side and go on a walk or do whatever the case is with my watch and not need my phone. Now, the other thing is within the gym. Like if I look down and I see, oh, I've been here for 54 minutes or whatever, I'm trying to usually be in there a little bit longer than that. Like it holds me accountable. It says, hey, go do an extra little bit, or hey, you ran through things a little bit too quickly. Or when I see that I'm in my workout and I'm at 250 calories on a leg day, I know that I was slacking a bit. I need to step it up. So for me, it gives me a lot of great features that I've been able to use in a very healthy way over the years. But the one thing I will say that I was really bad at, so I know a lot of people are bad with the notifications, so Josh's tips were great. But then on the other end, I've known some people who they get so used to using it that they can't do anything without it. So if you were to just happen to forget it or not have it charged or whatever the case is, you feel like, what's the point, right? And it's crazy to say this, that I used to actually be like that. I remember I was on such a streak that I would look at it every day, and then if I didn't happen to have a charge or something happened or it died, I'm like, well, I'm not keeping up my streak. Like, what's the point of all this? So I think it's also very important to get into a healthy relationship where you're not consistently consumed by it, and you don't need that validation of your watch saying you burned this many calories from a workout to say like, hey, good job. Like you should be able to do all that stuff without it. And that's something that I think some people miss out on, especially if you do have an obsessive personality like myself. Like I had to kind of combat that, where I'm like, hey, I'm good. Like I know I got 10,000 steps today. I was walking all day. I didn't have it on. Like I'm totally fine. So I think that's an important aspect of it as well when it comes to the obsession standpoint of these devices.
Yeah, also heart rate in general. It doesn't need to be Apple Watch. There's other devices you can get. But your heart rate can actually allow you to know when your rest is done in your workout, because when your heart rate naturally drops, usually for me, when it gets below 120, I usually know I'm about good to do another set, preferably closer to 100. But my heart rate will go as high as 160, 170. I've almost, I think, touched 180 from like heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, things like that. So for me, instead of like necessarily counting time, I'll go off feel and I'll look, and sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm 150, maybe I'll take a little bit more time. So there's a lot of tools and a lot of usage you can use, and you can also draw your own lines here. Like for me, I don't really care to track sleep. I know my sleep is like wonky. It's going to be because I have kids. Like I can control how early I can get, but like if I go to bed early and do everything right, I wake up, I feel okay. And it's like, your sleep is horrible. Don't train today. Like this is the worst. You're going to die. It's kind of demotivating, right? So for me, I'm kind of like, I don't need that stat personally. I track my sleep in a different way, where I'll just kind of rate out of 10 how I feel it is. And that's like the deepness of it. That's also like how I feel my responsibility of like, did I get to bed on time? Did I actually end up sleeping the full time? So to me, I'm fine with that. I know some people like to be really methodical about tracking their sleep, and I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but you just got to be realistic to yourself and what data is important to you. So I think this was a really fun question. I want to give some perspective as someone who has used it for quite a long time. But now we're going to jump into our third and final question, and that quite simply is it bad to be hungry? And I love this question. And this is in the context of just dieting in general. I took this out of a longer question, made it short and snappy. So in general, I think for myself, I've really ran from hunger. And one of the bigger mistakes I made in my fitness journey is I was very skinny. I think I started like I was a skinny kid, and then I got like a little bit chubby while I was growing. And then I grew through that, and I was like skateboarding a lot. So I was super, super skinny. I think it was like 150 pounds, maybe, which is crazy for me. Like now, I think I got under 200 once, and it did not look good. Like I was so lean for a powerlifting meet. Like I literally think there's probably a threshold where if I got to 190, I'd be looking a little scary, honestly. So it's pretty crazy that I was that light. And obviously, this is as I was growing, but I bulked hard. I was eating consistently about 4,000 to 6,000 calories a day. And I was like really diligent with it. Everyone used to make fun of it. In like high school, I would bring like 1,000 calories of almonds and just work through them where I could. I would do like crazy things, like have 5 McChickens for lunch, like just really dumb, crazy things. But I ate so much that I got really uncomfortable with the feeling of being hungry that even when I adjusted, I love just eating. And we're in a society, we're in a situation, if you're in a first world country, if you have these benefits, like you don't need to be hungry ever. There's snacks, there's Starbucks, there's everything you could ever want at any given point. And because of that, we lose the benefit that is hunger. So hunger is actually an amazing tool because hunger is crazy. It's crazy I have to say this, but hunger is telling you that you're hungry and you need to eat. And now you might say, okay, well, no kidding. That's the dumbest thing you've ever said. But when we're just eating all the time when we're full, we can't actually gauge, do we need food? Are we eating the calories we need to eat? And I think for me, the amazing benefit of tracking your food is I know exactly, like to a science, the mathematics of what I need to eat to either lose weight, stay the same, or gain weight. So to me, I just became really fixated on that and the numerics of everything. And because of that, I'd be like, okay, I could just crush 3,000 calories in the morning and like my composition will be fine if I don't eat later. And like you'll do funkier things or you'll really try to fight being hungry. But instead, too, if you track your calories and use hunger as a tool and you can actually give yourself some time and say, I'm hungry, it's better for digestion, you're able to gauge things better. And I think people are so scared of being hungry now, circling back to what I was saying, that it's obvious if you're never hungry, you're going to be in a surplus, you're going to be above your maintenance. Naturally, it's okay at the end of the night to go to bed a little hungry. And I always like to challenge new clients with this. I'm like, we're going to aim to start with maintenance, then we'll start to adjust from there. And I want you at the end of the day just to be a little bit hungry, not starving, not famished. These are very different things. And when you consider too, a little bit of hungry could just mean you're bored. A little bit of hungry could mean you want to eat some potato chips at 10 p.m., but you don't. That's naturally okay. And that's kind of where you're going to be if you're at maintenance or just below it. And when you're dieting too, hunger is a great tool to say, okay, I'm in a little bit of a deficit. Now you can circumvent hunger by staying on top of hydration, eating more fiber, eating higher quality foods. But in general, hunger is actually a really good tool to start to like learn and listen to your body. And you'll notice people that like don't track and are really good intuitive eaters, which I think is a really hard skill because it's a losing game. And it's hard for your hunger signaling to be correct when you're eating things like potato chips that are like engineered to be super tasty, crazy salty, and just to make you want to consume more, or McDonald's or whatever it is. But the people that are good at being intuitive will eat a bit, they'll wait and say, okay, I'm pretty full. If I want to eat it, I'll eat it later. And they usually don't. Whereas for me, like I just got excited with always finishing portions. So I've been trying to work on that more and more. And I think that's just made for me like maintaining my weight or cutting super, super easy. So I think that was a fun question. I just want to give you some context behind it, but those are my thoughts. So it's absolutely okay to be hungry, especially in a deficit. If you can believe that you can lose a ton of weight without ever being a little hungry, it's ridiculous. Like I said, there's ways to make it easier. I'm sure you could if you went crazy with vegetables and food volume, but then there might be digestion issues, right? So there's always trade-offs and you got to find what's realistic.
What's so cool is it gives you so much good information. So something that Josh added into the spreadsheet that we use for our clients, like, I don't know, 8 years ago, and we find it very important is what's your food satisfaction like? So we have a scale. So we get our clients to give us their energy levels as well as if they're full, satisfied, or hungry. And as a coach, this gives us so much information. If I have a client who's like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, I've got 12 weeks, and every day it's full, 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 we're going to have to make some changes. Like I'm not trying to starve you. And that's something, once again, we have to be mindful of like the right calorie intake for the person. But if you're consistently full, you're not in a deficit. There's just no way around it, right? And so these indicators make such a big difference. And the last thing I'll say on that note is there's a very big difference between tolerable hunger and intolerable hunger. So this was something one of our mentors said to us years ago. And I was like, man, that is such a good point. So tolerable hunger is the point where you just feel like you could have a little bit more. You finish a meal, you could definitely have a bit more. Maybe at the end of the night, you're a little bit hungry, like Josh was mentioning. It's normal. You're in a calorie deficit. You could absolutely always eat more food, but you're totally fine. Now, intolerable hunger is you're on a 1,000 calorie diet. You are irritable with people. You're snappy with them. You're not happy. You're just hating life. And it's just like unbearable. That's the point where your life is being affected. The people around you are being affected. And it's just intolerable. Like it's just not the way it should be. Whereas when you are in a tolerable hunger state, it just says, hey, you're in a calorie deficit as long as you're hitting your calories, you're hitting your protein, you're eating mostly healthy whole foods. It's totally normal. And the truth is, you're not going to die. Like I had to tell myself many times when I was dieting, like, you're not going to die. You're eating just over 2,000 calories. You're totally fine. You could eat a little bit more. You'll live. So just wanted to share that on this amazing question.
Yeah, and that is a big distinction because intolerable, when you need food, you need to eat. And it's very rare, unless you're really deep in a deficit, you'll ever actually be at this point. But it's really good to gauge it. And I think in particular, letting yourself like finish your food for the night, being a little hungry, understanding you're actually not hungry, you're just bored, especially with snacking. Like that's one of the best distinctions you can make. And sometimes too, you'll think you're so hungry, you'll drink some water and be like, okay, never mind, I'm not. And even these tools, like we worked really hard in our coaching system to make sure you can't fail and to make sure as a coach, I can have as much information, even if you don't tell it to me. So that's why we do video check-ins as well, because if you send me a video check-in and I can see your face all full of salt and it's gone the wrong way and you're like, oh, week was perfect, and I look and the spreadsheet doesn't say that either, like I can call you out on that. And one thing I wanted to say that I loved, Coach Krista mentioned this to us, that one of her previous mentors told her that if you don't hate your coach a little bit, you don't have a good coach. And as a personal trainer, that was always my thing. I'm like, listen, you're not going to like me at times, but I'm going to help you be better. You're paying me to help you get fit, healthy, and happy. So I need to do that. And one thing people used to hate that I would do is we'd be talking, life's good, we're talking about all our things. I go, all right, let's do a set. And they'd be like, well, and I'm like, no, we got to stay on track. Because otherwise you end up talking for 10 minutes. And it's just the same with a coach. A coach is so nice because they'll call you out on the things that you know you're doing wrong, that you're ashamed to admit. And it's not me doing it from a position of like wanting to be like, haha, I got you. It's like, no, here's a hole in your game. Here's where you can improve. When we fix this, here's how we can improve it. And having someone on your side like that is just so valuable. You do not want to miss out on that. And we have a special opportunity with the Skinny Fat promo. So if you want to lose 20 pounds of fat, gain 5 to 10 pounds of new lean muscle, get your confidence, see the results you deserve, definitely message us on Instagram, Skinny Fat. Do not miss out on this. You deserve the results, and we really want to make sure you do. We also are looking forward to blowing up the podcast this year. So if you're appreciating the things we're doing, the content we're bringing out, the growth we're having, if you could take 2 seconds to leave a review or follow us on Instagram, either of those things or both, if you want to be our best friends ever, those do help us grow. And like we said, we have a lot of amazing things in store for this year. So we're incredibly excited. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Peace out.